everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a book unhaul. Before we get into any unhauling, I just want to address the fact that I do have a cold, so I probably sound quite stuffy and a little bit croaky. Sorry about that. Also, you may have noticed that I've done a couple of book hauls reasonably recently. The last one was 2 months ago, and I think the other one was 2 months before that. Yet here I am doing another book unhaul. I'm feeling in a bit of a ruthless mood. I'm feeling like going through and making a proper decision about some books that I've been wavering on for a while now. I've been feeling like doing this for a little while, and then my grandmother actually passed away on Thursday, and I don't know why, but I feel like it's just made me really want to do an unhaul and be a bit ruthless. So that's what we're going to do today. What I'm planning on doing is actually taking my phone and filming myself as I go up to each bookcase and going along the shelves and deciding what I want to keep and what I don't. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and have a bit of a chat with you about what the books are. Yeah, so that's the plan. So let's go now to me actually doing that, and then we'll come back here and talk about it. Okay, so these two are actually already going to be unhauled. So we'll grab these. Please ignore the piles of stuff. This is my self-destruct pile for the year, and to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to read any of these books, so I'm just going to unhaul them. I'm going to keep the Ben Aronovich. I think I'm going to keep all of the books in that pile there. Okay. These books here, some of these books are Rowan's, so obviously I'm not getting rid of any of Rowan's books. I think I'm going to get rid of this one because I just don't think I'm going to reread it. I'll get rid of Dude, Where's My Country? The next couple of shelves down are all textbooks and stuff, which I'm going to keep. Although the teaching textbooks honestly are probably pretty outdated now, so they might not really be... I'll think a bit more about that. With the Fahrenheit, I really enjoyed, but to be honest with you, I just don't think I'm going to reread it. I'm keeping everything on this shelf. I haven't read most of them. I've read this one, I really enjoyed, and I've read The Flat Show, is one of my favourite books, so that one's staying. That pile there is borrowed books. There's nothing on the next shelf that I want to get rid of. That's all kind of like collections because I liked them when I was a kid. It's kind of sentimental. That shelf there is Rowan's. A lot of these are Rowan's. Yeah, I think we're keeping all of these. This pile here, it was already being unhauled, so that's, I'll put that in the pile in a minute. It sounds vaguely interesting, but honestly, I've not reached for it in nearly 3 years, so I don't think I want that. And that one's probably the same. Yeah, most of that is Rowan's, which means I'll keep them there. I don't actually think I want this Karen Slaughter. I'm going to keep the Kathy Reichs because I do like Kathy Reichs. Don't think I want this one either. That does sound quite interesting. But again, I've had it for quite a long time and I haven't reached for it, so I think it's going to go. So the shelf above this one, I'm keeping everything in there, so that's fine, it can stay. This shelf, we're going to keep the Lovecraft. I'm going to keep this one. I think I'm actually going to unhaul this one, even though I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'm going to continue with the series, and I'm not sure I'm going to reread it, so no point in having it. I have this little pile of books that I've been intending to unhaul for like 1,000 years, so that can go on top there. I want to keep the Bone Season series. I want to keep my Brandon Sanderson. Definitely want to keep this one. I'm going to keep those two. I'm not keeping Daughter of the Moon Goddess because it was fine, but I don't think I'm going to read the next one. I don't think I'm going to keep this one. I am actually going to Unhaul this entire series. I have read half of it, and I just have realised I have no interest in reading the rest, so it can go. This one can go. That someone from my book in real life book club left it here, and I'm never going to read it. There's Pratchett. Don't know why it's there, but it definitely stays. Big Magic isn't mine. Rowan bought this book as a punishment pick for me if I got that, and let's keep it. It'll be funny. Most of this shelf is Rowan, so I'm keeping all of that. Okay, these books are all new books, so they can all stay. Most of them are presents, they can all stay. Keeping the 5th season, Obelisk Gate, all that. The Joe Abercrombies are Rowan's. I am keeping all of these, I think. Alright. I think I'm keeping everything on this shelf. I'm keeping the Charles D. Lintz because my friend Alison sent them to me, that I'd like them. Keeping Jasper Jones. I'm going to keep everything in here. And yeah, I'm keeping everything in this shelf. I'm going to keep those. I think I'm actually going to unhaul this one. I am halfway through, and I have never felt the urge to go back to it, so it can go in the pile. Everything else on the book, this shelf can stay. Everything on this shelf can stay. Keeping all my Pratchett and my Neil Gaiman. Alright, this shelf. These things over in the corner here. Up to there, my grandfather and father wrote them, so I'm keeping those. I think I'm going to keep everything on that shelf. Yes, I am. Keeping everything on that shelf. Keeping everything on that shelf. Oops. Keeping. Okay. I was going to say keeping everything on that shelf, but I didn't actually love 1,000 Ships, so I think I will unhaul that as well. And yeah, I'm keeping everything there. I'm keeping everything there, and obviously keeping all the beautiful display ones. Hello, back again. So I actually did that a couple of hours ago now, so since then I then kind of had another look at a couple of the shelves and decided on a couple of extra books that I was going to add to the pile. I haven't counted, but there's 2 quite huge piles next to me here, and you did see as I was going around how many I got rid of, so yeah, we'll count as we go, but I think this is quite a huge unhaul. So I'm not going to tell you too much about the books because otherwise we'll be here forever, but we're going to go through and talk about them. So I'm just going to keep reaching into the pile over here. The first one is Blind Faith by Ben Elton. This was just in the bookshelf behind me, so I decided at the last minute before I started filming that I was going to unhaul this as well. So this is a post-apocalyptic kind of, I guess, satirical book. I actually was given this by Rowan's dad. I thought it was to borrow and he said no, keep it. I read it and I really enjoyed it. I really do like Ben Elton's writing style, but I honestly just don't think I'm going to read it. Phil doesn't want it back, so it can go somewhere else to be appreciated. Right, then we have Strike the Zither by Joan He. This is a book that I've read and vlogged for my Ko-Fi. One of the tiers, one of the benefits is that you can pick from 3 books, and the 3 of us, myself, Ellie and Lana, will read it and vlog it for our members. It was okay. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was well written. I had a good time with it, but I don't really particularly want to continue with the series, and I honestly don't think I'm going to reread it, so it can go and be appreciated by someone else. I'm probably going to say very similar things about all of these books as we go through. Okay, then we have The Silence of Shahrazad by Daphne Suman. This is a historical fiction set in Turkey, I believe. I was halfway through this book. I have been halfway through this book for about a year now. I was enjoying it when I was reading it last year in Queensland, which is where I picked it up when I was visiting Lana from in the Accords used to be Lore and Lullabies, but I just have not gone back to it, and I haven't really thought about it very much, and I honestly just don't think I'm going to go back to it, so it can go. Then we have 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. Again, a book that I liked. I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe, but I didn't love it. And I have other books about the Trojan War, other Trojan War retelling books on my shelves, and I just don't need to keep one that I didn't love. So yeah, it's gonna go. I do think this is well written. I think that it's definitely a book that other people will really enjoy. So I think that it will find a good home. It's just not here. Alright, then I have Triptych by Karen Slaughter. I really don't know anything about this. I picked this book up secondhand, and I keep meaning to read some more of these sorts of police procedural murder mystery type books, and I just don't pick them up. So there is no point in it being on my shelf if I'm not going to read it. So it's going to go. Literally exactly the same for The Bone Bed by Patricia Cornwell. I have heard quite a lot of people who really enjoyed Patricia Cornwell's writing style. I read another of hers recently and it was fine, like I enjoyed the experience, but I honestly don't know when I would get to this, and attempting to be ruthless, as I keep saying, there's no point in keeping it if I'm not going to read it for another 2 or 3 years and it's just going to sit there. I think it's the kind of book that I would end up reading and then unhauling anyway, and I can borrow books like that from the library rather than having them on my shelves, so goodbye. Then we have The Girl Beneath the Sea by Andrew Mayne. Very similar to what I just said about these last 2 books. It is a bit of a kind of thriller mystery. I've had it for about 3 years now and I just haven't reached for it. I think that in one of the last 2 hauls that I did kind of have a read of the back of it and said to myself, no, I will read it, but will I? Will I really? I don't know. I might as well just unhaul it, to be honest. Next up, we have one that is probably going to be quite controversial, and that is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book is about a young woman called Amoni, and she is a young mum. She, I think, is 16 or something, and she has a 2-year-old daughter. She wants to be a chef, and it's about her trying to realize her dreams and raise her child, and living in the States where it's really hard to survive. And one of her parents is Latinx and one of her parents was African American, I think. So there's conversations about racism in America as well. I really enjoyed this book. I am not getting rid of it because it was bad at all. I just honestly don't think I'm going to reread it. It really is one of those books that is so well written and talks about its themes in such a way that it's really, I think, important for it to be out in the world being read by the young adults that it was written for, and not sitting on my shelves not being read. Next up is Veronica Decides to Die by Paulo Coelho. I watched a movie based on this a while ago and I really enjoyed it, and then I saw this for like 50 cents or something and I decided to grab it, but I have never reached for it. That was probably about 1.5 years ago, maybe even longer, and even though it's super short, just haven't reached for it, and I just decided that I didn't think I was going to, so it can go somewhere else and be read by someone who might really love it. Okay, then I have Dude, Where's My Country by Michael Moore. So this one I really liked at the time. It is by the person who did the Bowling for Columbine movie, and he was really popular for quite a while, quite a sort of communist lefty. I have read this book and I did really enjoy it, but it's very outdated now and I'm just not sure whether it's relevant really anymore. I honestly will never reread it, so it's going. This one came in a mystery box and I'm never going to read it. I do not care at all about golf or Tiger Woods, so yeah, no. All of these books, these are from the same series. This is another series and this is another series. These are all books that I loved when I was probably about 10-ish, and I've held on to them for literally decades. I just don't think I will reread them, and I've come to realize that they are probably quite problematic, with the exception of one, which is a historical fiction. They are about young girls in the foster system in America, but they're very, very fundamentalist Christian, and I just don't think that it's something that I want children that I potentially have or know to really be reading. I did end up keeping one of them because it has sentimental value, but I don't need to keep them all. And I've held on to them for so long because I've been very sentimental about them, but it's time. It's time. It's time. And then we have Stories We Never Told by Sonia Yulg. This is another kind of psychological thriller. Don't really know much else about it, and it's another one that I just had to be honest with myself about whether I was going to read it and decide that honestly I wasn't going to read it. So hopefully someone else will get something out of it. And then we have Her Final Words by Brianna Labuskis. I literally don't know anything about this. I think it is another kind of suspense thriller, and I honestly forgot it was on my shelf and that it existed. So that probably means that I don't really want to read it. So this one I know absolutely nothing about. It was left at my house by a member of my in real life book club. I just don't think I'm going to read it. No one else in the book club seemed to want to read it, so it can go. Then we have Radiance by Grace Draven. I really enjoyed this book. This was sent to me by Becca from the Becca Fowl. Thank you so much, Becca. It was a fantastic birthday present. Like I said, I did really, really enjoy it. It's a fantasy romance, and I think the romance part is done really, really well, but it's a really long series, and I just don't think I'm going to read the rest of the series, and I very much doubt that I'll come back to it. So it should go, and find someone else that will love it. Then we have The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This book was fine. I enjoyed it. It wasn't amazing. I think I gave it 3, maybe 3.5 stars. It was fun. I definitely had a good time with it, but also I'm not going to continue with the series, so there's no point in keeping it. It's a shame because, again, beautiful book, but can't keep them for that reason. I am actually going to unhaul the entire Ember in the Ashes series. So that is An Ember in the Ashes, A Torch Against the Night, A Reaper at the Gates, and A Sky Beyond the Storm. I read the first 2. I enjoyed them. I definitely wanted to continue the series. I have actually put the other 2 on my 45 to read before 45, but I just realised that I honestly don't think I'm that interested anymore. I was enjoying it when I was reading it, but I left it way too long to continue with the series, and yeah, I just don't really care that much anymore, so I'm going to unhaul them. Alright, then we have A Splendid Ruin by Megan Chance. This is historical fiction set in San Francisco in the late 1800s. It was fine, but I'm not going to reread it. Didn't love it, so it's going to go too. Then we have Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuznia. This was sent to me by Ash from Ash's Adventures in Books. Thank you so much, Ash, for sending this to me. I really wanted to love it. It is another absolutely stunning book. I really, really wanted to love it, but I honestly just didn't. I didn't even finish it. I'm halfway through. I got halfway through. Last year I was reading it for the Hemisphere Christmas Games readathon. I put it down and I've never once felt the urge to pick it back up again. I wasn't particularly loving it as I was reading it. It's just the writing style. I don't know why, but it wasn't really appealing to me, so I'm probably not going to reread it. I mean, finish it. So yeah, it can go as well. Then we have The Slap by Christos Tsiokis. I read the first bit of this as a try chapter, and as you saw, I really couldn't stand the main character, so I'm not going to read it, so I'm going to unhaul it. It's a contemporary. It's about what happened, like the ramifications of someone hitting someone else's child, and it sounds like it's going to be really good, and I did really want to read it and really enjoy it, but it's just, yeah, I couldn't stand the main character in the first little bit, so it's going to go. Then we have The Poison Tree by Erin Kelly. This one is a kind of suspense, like past, present, jumping around times. I don't think I'm explaining that very well. It sounds really, really interesting, but it was on my self-destruct list from last year. It remained on the list this year until June, and I haven't read it yet. It's not on my TBR. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to get to it, so it's going to go. Take What You Can Carry by Jan Sada. Another book that I honestly don't even think about, don't even look at, just have never had the urge to pick up. It's another historical fiction. I do enjoy historical fiction, but I don't even remember I own it, so it's gonna go. I don't really know anything other than it's historical fiction. Then we have The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. I read this as part of Chloe's Crime Scene Corner, which is the book club run by Chloe from Chloe Reads Books. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed being part of the book club as well, but I just don't think I'm going to reread it. And yeah, it might as well go out and hopefully be picked up by someone that will enjoy it as well. So there we go. Another casualty of a try chapter tag, and that is The Windup Girl by Paulo Bacigalupi. I apologise, I obviously completely butchered that name. I didn't really feel it, basically. I could definitely see that it would be interesting if you like science fiction, but I just didn't really, wasn't keen on what I read, so I'm not going to keep it. A Winter's Promise, another book that I tried in a try chapter tag. It seemed like it could be fine, but I honestly just don't think I can be bothered with it. It's very young adult, not that there's anything wrong with that, I just don't think it's something that I particularly care about, and I don't really feel the need to keep on my shelves. These two, this one's sci-fi, this one's fantasy, this one is kind of a dystopian future, other world where they live in these sort of island things. I don't really know much. Filth by Irvin Walsh. I don't really know anything very much about this. I have it because I really like Trainspotting the movie, and this is the person who wrote the book that was based on. I don't really know anything about it. It is on my self-destruct this year, but honestly I don't think I'm going to get to it, so I'm unhauling it. The Goldman Trilogy by someone. Mervyn Peake. This is a classic fantasy series. It's actually a bind-up of all books. I just honestly don't think I'm going to get to it, and it might as well go out there to be appreciated by someone who will potentially be really excited to have a really nice vintage classic copy of it, but I just don't think I'm going to read it, so someone else might as well. And then I actually went through and got a bunch of textbooks. I'm not going to go through them all, but there are about 11 kind of textbooks. They're all from my teaching degree, and I kept them because I thought I'd refer back to them as I was teaching. I never have, and also they're all probably very out of date now, so I'm going to get rid of them because I'm not using them and they're taking up space. But yeah, I did not count those books. But yeah, that was my unhaul. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. Are there any books that you think I should fish back out again? Is there anything that you are really upset that I'm getting rid of? Please be polite, but let me know that as well. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me the stack of book emoji because this is a massive stack of books. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.